and it's going to start getting a little warm around here.
Back to the 90s. We haven't had them in a couple of days now. It's been rather mild and below average this time of year. We're typically in the 80s, and we'll be cooler than that today. We have the tail end of a frontal system that's going to pass overhead. Lots of 50s this morning, as Mike and I have been talking about some fog in the north end of the bay and right along the coastal hills, so visibility could be an issue. Relative humidity is close to 100% in many of these locations. The rest of us are getting into the lower clouds. Statewide, Santa Cruz, Capitola, Scotts Valley. Fire coming out of the north, or the wind coming out of the north at about 10 miles per hour this morning. As we go through the afternoon, watch these arrows. They start to become more northwesterly. Highs near the fire will be close to 85 or 90 degrees. Winds will continue to come in out of the northwest, 10 to 15 miles per hour. So if you are southeast of the fire, Santa Cruz, Capitola, you'll probably start to see some of this smoke this afternoon, tonight, and tomorrow as well. Wind gusts could easily reach 30 miles per hour. Relative humidity will be close to 40 to 50%. Here's another thing to keep in mind. Fires create their own wind. As heat rises, it leaves an empty space right below that. So when we get that, you've got air rushing in from all directions. That's why you get those erratic winds close to the fire. As that rises, you get an empty space and all that air rushes in to fill it. So while the prevailing winds will be coming out of the northwest, firefighters down under the ground could at times be dealing with some erratic winds. Highs today for the next hour or so. And then as we head on down to the south, we have some more rain that's coming through from Vallejo, American Canyon, right into Marin County and San Francisco. So that you can tell the direction of this. This is a 30-minute loop. It's all headed to the east and, in a sense, northeast as well. Down the peninsula, 101 and 280, certainly a mess. And look at that little cell right there. Some yellow, heavy rain. We could see some lightning in Pea-Size Hill from this storm as it gets closer to Redwood City and San Carlos, and then eventually dies out, but continues to move on into Fremont, where we're seeing some rain now up through Hayward. South end of the bay, a lot of the Santa Clara Valley getting some light rain. The heaviest rain now is into the hills, closer to Campbell, Los Gatos, and certainly right up over 17, where we have some rain and some snow, even some small hail closer to Scotts Valley. Plenty of
heavy drizzle all around the Bay Area this morning.
Yeah, it's going to be a little cooler. I think that, well, stay cool, not as many of the hundreds or anything like that like we've seen in the past.
Yeah, Brent and Susan, we haven't even seen many 90s in fact, and over the weekend and today, mostly 60s and 70s. Yeah, you still need those windshield wipers going this morning. Some mist, some drizzle, and a lot of that sticks around through most of the morning, 9, 10 o'clock, closer to the North Bay, San Francisco, and right along the peninsula, because we've got that marine layer. The fog is about 2,000 feet deep, and while it may not be touching the ground where you are, that's certainly falling, and you'll have to get those windshield wipers going. We're sitting mostly in the one storm's making an exit. That's the one I watch closely. Notice all those little pockets down there, those little clouds. They look almost like popcorn, piecemeal kind of. That's indicating how cold the air is, and with that cold air coming on through here, quite a bit of it, and some moisture coming in, it's going to be noticeably cooler tomorrow. You're going to need those extra coats and at times the umbrellas. Well, there's not a lot of rain coming in, maybe about 1/10 of an inch or so. We'll get a little bit of rain, but it's enough to give us some snow again close to Mount Hamilton, Santa Cruz Mountains, and Lake County. We get a break Tuesday morning, but Tuesday afternoon, you've got more rain coming on in. At that point, we'll get closer to 1/4 of an inch. So a little more rain with the system coming in on Tuesday. Look at the highs tomorrow after the sun comes up. Good morning to you, Brent and Laura. Good morning to all of you at home. A beautiful day, a lot of sunshine out here. And just over my shoulder, we've actually set up for the Live Strong Challenge. We'll tell you about that in just a minute. You were talking about the weather, certainly going to be on the minds of a lot of people, and it'll be the big story moving forward. We do have a big ridge of high pressure set up over us. You can see the satellite there. So the heat is starting to build in. Today, temperatures will come up a good 10 to 12 degrees from where we were yesterday. So we're going to see lots of 80s out there. At the beaches, closer to the 70s. Moving forward, that ridge of high pressure gets a lot stronger, and Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, even to Saturday. And we're going to see lots of 90s around here, and a couple of places getting closer to the 100-degree temperature range Saturday and even into.
It's like to do that on Monday mornings. Now the sunrise has come and gone, but the beauty out there in Los Gatos is just as spectacular right now.
It really is, Brent. Good morning to you and happy Monday. Here we had the sunrise come up about 6:02. The clouds, of course, were in the way, but take a look at the amazing views from here. You can see all the way across the Santa Clara Valley. If it was a little clearer, you'd really be able to make out downtown. Certainly the Prune Yard, Campbell, a lot of the valley cities out there. A beautiful start to the morning. We actually chose this location for several reasons. One, because it's the rich history. It's the Bay Area's oldest continuously running winery, the 4th oldest continuously running winery in the state. and it's
When he was at, thus the tears freezing up immediately.
Absolutely.
Not like that around here, but getting a little colder tomorrow.
Really cold tomorrow. 55 will be the highs for us, not below.
Thank goodness.
Yeah, we'll take that little minus off and sign off of the front of the numbers. Good evening to you. We've got some clouds out there starting to move on in and some cold air as well. It's moving in from the Pacific and right over from Canada. So it's going to be rather chilly tomorrow, 5 to 10 degrees cooler than it was today. And today we actually reached low and mid 60s. Snow for the Bay Area hills above 3,000 feet. That would be Mount Hamilton. Probably close to the Santa Cruz Mountains above the ridge of the summit. So the road should be fine. It's above that. Once you get higher in the higher elevation Santa Cruz Mountains, you get some of that snow as well. And also up toward Lake County above 2,500 feet. So a little bit lower the farther north you are. 53 right now, Livermore 54, San Francisco, lots of 50s right now. And again, those are pretty close to where the numbers are going to be tomorrow for afternoon highs. We've got wind out of the west at 20 miles per hour at San Francisco. Some of the gusts, again, have been about 20 to 25 most of this afternoon, and those have been close to Santa Rosa, Hayward, and at SFO. 28-mile-per-hour gusts within the past hour at Hayward. All right, here's a satellite radar composite. One storm's making an exit. That's the one I watch closely. Notice all those little pockets down there, those little clouds. They look almost like popcorn, piecemeal kind of. That's indicating how cold the air is, and with that cold air coming on through here, quite a bit of it, and some moisture coming in, it's going to be noticeably cooler tomorrow. You're going to need those extra coats and at times the umbrellas. Well, there's not a lot of rain coming in, maybe about 1/10 of an inch or so. We'll get a little bit of rain, but it's enough to give us some snow again close to Mount Hamilton, Santa Cruz Mountains, and Lake County. We get a break Tuesday morning, but Tuesday afternoon, you've got more rain coming on in. At that point, we'll get closer to 1/4 of an inch. So a little more rain with the system coming in on Tuesday. Look at the highs tomorrow. After the sun comes up at 6:53, we'll be sitting with some upper 40s out there, and then we're only going to warm up about another 5 degrees or so for the afternoon highs. Sunset at 6:10. Yeah, lots of 50s on the map. Snow across the Bay Area hills. 7-day forecast. A few more showers on Tuesday evening until Wednesday morning. Dry on Thursday, some more showers on Friday. We get a break, and Diane, it is that time. Next Saturday, 2 a.m.
It is?
Spring forward.
You're kidding.
No.
Didn't we just fall back?
We did. It seems like we're springing forward earlier.
That's crazy.
This time Christmas will be springing forward.
Exactly. Thank you, Craig.
Certainly.
.com. I'd love to see them.
There are some beautiful shots out there. It's 6:24 right now, but it is very cold. Some frost advisories up and down our area. Want to check in with Craig, take a look at the forecast.
Yeah, Brent and Laura, let's get right to it. And the frost advisories extend right along the coast from the northern coast right down the peninsula and into Monterey Bay. Freeze warnings for the north end of the bay where we've been in the 20s, mid-20s in Santa Rosa for at least 3 hours. This morning, lots of places at freezing or below that. Some mid-30s for the south end of the Bay Peninsula and East Bay. We wake up to these temperatures tomorrow. Flying around, it's clear up there. Just a few patchy clouds. Some low 30s out across the East Bay interior valleys. Lots of 20s up into the north. The closer you are to the water, the more of the 30s you have. A little more moisture, so it doesn't get quite as cold. It's all still that cold air that's with us as the rain has moved into Southern California. We will see another round of rain come into our area Thursday into Friday, and that will give us some more rain at that point. So one more day where we wake up to some 20s in the north end of the bay. Tomorrow, highs today into the 40s, and winter officially begins Sunday. So does Hanukkah. Brent and Laura, back to you.
All right, thanks for our forecast, and it's going to start getting a little warm around here.
Back to the 90s. We haven't had them in a couple of days now. It's been rather mild and below average this time of year. We're typically in the 80s, and we'll be cooler than that today. We have the tail end of a frontal system that's going to pass overhead. Lots of 50s this morning, as Mike and I have been talking about. Some fog in the north end of the bay and right along the coastal hills, so visibility could be an issue. Relative humidity is close to 100% in many of these locations. The rest of us are getting into the lower clouds. Statewide, we're going to get some nice clear conditions this afternoon. Here's the tail end of the front that I'm talking about, parked right about there, starts to come our direction. So as it does, we get some wind later this afternoon, especially from the Golden Gate and places north of there. We have a small craft advisory over the water. Lots of 70s and mid 80s today. Notice what happens as that front passes tomorrow. This ridge starts to expand our direction. So does that warm air comes here. Yeah, some 90s are back in the forecast. We've got the pollen count kind of high. If you're sneezing, maybe got those itchy, watery eyes, sound like me a bit this morning. Maybe the allergies. Moderate air quality for the coast and the South Bay. Good for the rest of the Bay Area. Highs around the rest of the state coming up as well for the south end of the state. There's the Giants Diamondbacks forecast, 7:15, mid to upper 50s tonight. 106 through Palm Springs. The numbers come up for Los Angeles and San Diego and get a little bit higher for Fresno and down through Bakersfield along 99 and Interstate 5. Once we get into Sacramento, 91 and about 76 in Lake Tahoe. This evening and this afternoon, rather, Almaden Valley at about 86 and 88 for Morgan Hill, 2 of the warmer spots. Only into the low to mid 80s, Alamo, Pleasanton, Livermore, 77 in San Jose, 65 in San Francisco Peninsula, San Carlos through Foster City and Daly City. We're in the upper 60s to low 70s. Walnut Creek, Danville, yeah, you're in the 80s today and lots of 70s for the north end of the bay. This evening and through the overnight hours, a little more fog, 50s for overnight lows. 7-day forecast, 90s come back, low 90s tomorrow, and then we start to come back in as we go through Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So at that point, we'll see some of those 90s. Brent, I'll send it back to you.